США была наполовину индийского происхождения. В общем, большая традиция есть в Индии стратегическая. Рупал, очень интересно ваше мнение по этим вопросам. Микрофон.
Thank you so much. I would like to begin by expressing my sincere gratitude to Professor Andre Sushinto and Walday Discussion Club for holding this vital dialogue and giving me the opportunity to contribute and be a part of this esteemed panel. So, to give an overall idea, I would like to introduce the diplomatic training, how it undergoes in India, and what are the various functional and fundamental aspects on it. And then we'll dwell upon how AI is getting integrated in it. So, to start with, the process of diplomatic training starts in India with an examination, and it's an rigorous exam. So the candidates for exam do not have any international relations background. They are simple graduates, and they just have to qualify the exam. And to give you an idea, the success rate is just 0.01%. So if you get through the exam, you really have to work hard. So once you are through the exam, there's a training regime, and in the training, they undergo first a foundational training where they are introduced to the subjects of history, civics, issues of administration, and all those things. And then there's a specialized training for the foreign services trainees. It happens in New Delhi. So here they are introduced with the aspects that are more functional in nature. And by functional, I would like to emphasize that the aspects that I include in the functional nature is the crisis management, the negotiation skills, generating leadership qualities, things like that. And the methodology used for training the diplomats are the case studies, the simulation exercises, the role playing scenarios, and examination of success stories. Now, the purpose of giving this overview is that I want to give you an idea and for you to understand that Indian bureaucracy, including the diplomatic service, emphasizes execution and problem solving over academic or intellectual pursuits. So this translates into greater emphasis on functional aspects, like I said, negotiation skills, crisis management, and leadership qualities. Now, the functional approach to diplomatic training has been effective in addressing the immediate needs of the developing state that India has been and navigating the complex domestic international challenges that our country has faced till this point. Now, this approach provides some sort of agility and giving tangible benefits like negotiating trade agreements, bringing in foreign investments, and also it gives a lot of scope for innovation. And this has also been evident in the foreign policy initiatives that India has taken. For example, the Vaccine Maitri initiative. During COVID 19, India supplied COVID related medicines and other assistance to 150 countries. And within the 4 days of the commencement of the vaccination drive in the nation, that is 1.38 billion strong population at the time, India started sharing vaccines with its neighbors. And besides this, successful evacuation drives like Operation Ganga, Operation Devi Shakti from various conflict zones, initiatives like being first responder in the case of natural disasters are all the prominent example of foreign policy of India in this aspect. Having said all that, the importance of fundamental aspects of training cannot be understated. As Professor pointed out, that India is a growing economy and we have taken an approach towards emphasizing on the civilizational aspects. So, in that case, the fundamental aspect of training is gaining more and more prominence. The fundamental mental knowledge here, in a sense, is the understanding of history, culture, philosophy, geography, and socio-political fabric that defines the nation. It is the foundation base upon which the policies are crafted, enabling nations to make informed and contextually relevant decisions. The Indian diplomatic regimen, like I said, is dominantly functional, but it has several elements of fundamental knowledge, and these elements are increasing as India's stature in economy and in political landscape is increasing. So, if I were to give you a glimpse of the fundamental aspects, so there is an importance on linguistic skills. So, at the end of the training, the foreign diplomat trainees go through, these trainees are supposed to choose a language. and their first posting is based on the language chosen by them. They are posted to the region where the language they choose, and it is only after they learn the language and clear a compulsory foreign language examination do they become confirmed to the service. So from trainee to becoming officer, language is one of the very important skill that is emphasized on. And besides the language, there are modules on teaching theory of international relations, history, culture, and the area experts are a part of the faculty, guest faculty at the institute, at the Foreign Services Training Institute. A lot of my own professors from Jawaharlal Nehru University are a part of the faculty to teach these foreign services trainees these subjects, and experts from the field of journalism, from trade, and other aspects also are invited to the academy to teach these trainees. Now, in terms of methodology, also there has been an evolution. There are more assignments based on country-specific paper writing, on book reviews, and those things. Besides the case studies that has been there, there are also attachments to various ministries and army headquarters. So, in the recent year, Indian foreign policy regimen has also embraced innovation. For example, in 2018 batch of trainees, they saw fresh addition of cybersecurity attachments with Gujarat Forensic Science University. There are standalone modules on space diplomacy, science and tech diplomacy. AI has also been added in the modules. And the recent 2022 batch also visited a lot of technology universities such as Indian Space Research Organization, Indian Institute of Science, Defense and Research Development Organization, and India Stack. The diplomats are also trained in the effective usage of social media because it has become a very important tool in foreign policy these days. So, science and technology has become a very prominent part of India's foreign policy. India has been quite vocal about its digital public infrastructure and how it can be replicated across the globe, and especially in the parts of global south, which is facing problems very similar that India has faced of people not being on the radar of the government and hence out of the welfare policies of the government. So these things are becoming a very prominent part of India's foreign policy. There has also been an establishment of new division, the NEST division it is called, New and Emerging Strategic Technologies. It is another major initiative. So the NEST division acts as the prominent point in Ministry of External Affairs for issues related to new and emerging technologies and foreign policy negotiations. So India has also embraced the technology aspect. Now, talking about the trends that are visible with the rising India is one of greater collaboration between academia and the policy making. So the role of AI also becomes very important here. So I had the opportunity to talk to a couple of officer trainees and some of the diplomats as well. One of the major problems that they come across is that a lot of diplomatic work involves protocol related work, reading reports, writing reports, and all those things. So I think AI can become a part of some of the aspects of the diplomatic work. So there is more space for things that are more human, for example, the negotiation skills. Because in diplomacy, it's not only about finding an optimal solution, and a chat GPT or AI can do that very well. It can find an optimal solution, but it is about finding a solution that is acceptable to all, that includes the wishes of all the parties on the table. So yes, in terms of AI, it can play a very significant role on that note. And with that, I would like to move towards end that on the impact of AI on the future of diplomacy and diplomatic training. As long as we keep on learning, we can grow with their development. In spite of the reaction of Lord Palmerston, the British Prime Minister, when he received the first telegraph message in the 1860, my God, this is the end of diplomacy. But diplomacy has survived. Thank you.
Да, этот посыл лудицкий, опасение того, что ты не понимаешь, опасение того, что вдруг может как-то трансформировать твой образ действия, твой образ жизни. Академик Владимир Георгиевич Барановский рассказывал мне, когда я ему показывал, что может делать чат GPT, он рассказывал, что вот 45 лет назад его коллега привез впервые в ММО компьютер. А ММО – Институт Российской Академии Наук. И, значит, задача стояла в том, что тогда все тексты набирались машинописно, специальные профессионалы, машинистки их набирали очень быстро, и это была отдельная деятельность. И вот этот коллега привез компьютер и говорит: я сейчас буду сам набирать этот текст, и я посмотрю, насколько это отразится на моей результативности деятельности. И где-то вот несколько месяцев был такой вот хайп вокруг этой новой технологии, пока не убедились, что в целом, да, он облегчает какие-то вещи, но он не заменяет мышление как таковое. С нами сегодня Денис Дегтярев, который, с одной стороны, имеет очень значительный бэкграунд в мировой экономике, с другой, в прикладном ключе занимался исследованиями и преподаваниями международных отношений и